Hey guys, welcome back to an interesting video on Wild Rift. So today we are back with a Samira updated complete guide for patch 4.1a and above. And of course, I think 4.2b is going to be releasing real soon. But regardless, of course, we're going to just take a look at her latest build. And as usual, don't forget to take a look at Samira's basic guide, which I will put up in the cards above for her skills, leveling order, as well as some tips and tricks and combos. And I hope you guys have been enjoying like more or less the daily videos that we've been having for the past like I think 2 weeks or so. Because honestly, they're not going to continue because I'm really busy like in life at the moment. So let's not even talk about like having time to make videos. But I don't really even have time to play Wild Rift nowadays. Like in the past like week, I basically only played like Wild Rift on like one day, and all the content was from previous times that I played that I've been slowly releasing once per day. So don't really know where the content's gonna go, but hopefully I still will have time to play and make videos for you guys, but we'll have to see how it goes. So content won't be coming out so often anymore. But with all that nonsense out the way, let's jump straight into talking about Samira's loadout itself. So now, with the nerfs to Shield Bow like quite a number of patches ago at this point, I feel that Shield Bow isn't really the best first item to go for on majority of champions anymore. I mean, there are some champions that like taking Shield Bow first item, champions like Neela and Zeri, for example, that you can't really find another place to fit it in. Like you don't want to be going for Bloodthirster first on those champs, things like that. But for champs like Samira and Draven, I actually think that Bloodthirster first item now is way better. Basically because Bloodthirster, it gives you a lot of AD, gives you a lot of lifesteal, or the Omnivamp I should say, which is basically what like champions like Samira and Draven want. You want that huge amount of AD. Of course, crit is something you want. You want, of course, the physical Vamp. The Bloodstone Shield comes in real handy as well, and just does really well. And of course, Samira, after you get your Bloodthirster, you are gonna go for, of course, your Gluttonous Greaves, because of course Samira wants Omnivamp. She doesn't care about attack speed at all. You could go for this defensive boots in certain scenarios, but generally you want to go for the Gluttonous Greaves. And personally, I think for Samira, most of the time you do want to go for Quicksilver Sash, not necessarily as a second item, but you want to go for Gluttonous Greaves as a second item, and you complete your QSS whenever you need it. It might be after your Collector, might be after your third item, but when you need it, you can complete it. And then you move on to the next item, Collector. Now, Collector, I think Samira is one of the few champions that I actually like building Collector on, because as you guys know, I'm not a big fan of Collector. And the main reason I like Collector on Samira is because the passive is something I think Samira can actually use, because Samira's ult, much like MF's ult, launches like many like bullets that does little bits of damage, and the run of those random bullets can put an enemy below 5% and trigger the Collector, which is going to come in very handy, giving Samira the reset on her E. The reason why I don't like it on majority of champions is because it's really like you're going to do generally a lot of damage with one auto attack or something like that, and you're not going to trigger the Collector passive anyway. So of course, the AD armor pen as well as crit is really nice as well. And for your last three items, you can go for them in many different orders. So Shield Bow, of course, is mainly for defensive capabilities. Of course, the stat line is pretty good as well, but you mainly take it for that lifeline. Passive, of course, Maul Reminder is mainly for your armor pen together with your Grievous Wounds. Of course, yet again, stats pretty good as well. And IE is your damage item. Of course, huge amount of AD as well as increasing your crit damage. So basically, there are some matches where, let's say I'm against multiple tanky targets, and with healing, I could go for Maul Reminder as my third item. I have done that a number of games. Now, some games you need the survivability of Shield Bow, and you end up going for Shield Bow as a third item because you're just getting bursted when you're in your ult, for example. But some games you're like, let's say you're fed, you're snowballing, you want more damage, then you can go for IE as your third item and go for Shield Bow later on. Or, of course, you could, mix up the order in whichever way you please. So, kind of depends on the situation. I honestly think there is no fixed order for Samira's last three items. It really depends on who you're fighting. But for Samira's runes, it is pretty fixed. You do want to go for Conquer as your keystone. Of course, this is going to stack up when you get to your S rank. Gives you, of course, more AD and more Omnivamp. I take Triumph because Triumph on Samira is amazing, because when you're in your ulti, you do get resets, and when you get your resets, you proc the Triumph and you restore your health, and this can make the difference between you continuing on to ult more people and getting more resets and you just dying, because Samira, of course, deals a lot of damage, but she also takes a lot of damage because she's in the middle of the enemy team. And with that in mind, Last Stand is probably, I think Last Stand, the only champ I actually take Last Stand on. for ADCs at least, is actually Samira. I don't take it on anyone else, not Draven, or actually I do take it on Draven, but don't take it on Nyla or other people. So last stand, when your health is below 60%, you will start doing additional damage, and when it's below 30%, you reach the maximum extra damage of 11%. And this is actually very useful on Samira, because from my experience, even when you're fed on Samira, majority of the time, you are going to fall below 60% health at some point in time. It's just that when you're really fed and you have a lot of lifesteal, you're going to lifesteal all of that health back, but you are going to get low basically every single match on Samira. So last stand becomes really helpful to increase your damage. And finally, of course, we take Legend Bloodline for the Omnivamp. Samira's, of course, all about Omnivamp. She doesn't care about attack speed. Of course, not Omnivamp, but Lifesteal, Lifesteal, and Lifesteal as well. And for your minor rule, you have two options. Now, the aggressive option, when you're planning to go in and fight heavily in laning phase, is going to be Sudden Impact. Because when you dash, you're going to get an additional 13 armor penetration, which is going to, of course, boost your damage by a significant margin. However, if you're not planning to fight a lot, or if you're against a lane where you're going to be taking a lot of poke, let's say you're against a Ezreal or a Karma or a Caitlyn, something like that, then you want to actually go for bone plating instead, because this is going to block a lot of damage and make your laning phase survivable and let you be more healthy to, of course, try to go for all-ins later on. No point taking Sudden Impact if you're getting poked out and you can never go in anyway, because you're never going to proc Sudden Impact regardless. So for the spells, it's pretty fixed as well. You want to go for Flash and you want to go for Exhaust. Now, a change you could possibly make here is some people actually have to go for Barrier, because sometimes that Barrier does make the difference when you're in your ult and you Barrier and you survive because of your Barrier. You get a reset and you continue on killing people. It does make a difference from time to time. But I think over Exhaust just provides you more value just in the grand scheme of things. So all that said, let's jump into talking about Samira's gameplay itself. Okay, so hopping into our gameplay, of course, as usual, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Any questions, queries, or remarks, feel free to leave them in the comments below. So, Samira, it's really straightforward as to when you want and don't want to play her. You basically don't want to play her into heavy CC. Now, it's almost impossible to find a quote-unquote perfect match for Samira, because you're never going to face an enemy team where there is completely no CC. So you can see in this case, you do have like the Renekton W, you do have like the Fizz ulti, and you have like Annie stun as well. By the way, we're playing against a Fizz support, as you guys can see, and we're instantly, of course, bullying him already because he doesn't have any range spells at all. He only, is a full-on melee champion, completely no range spells at all. So, yeah. So you might think Fizz support is a little bit troll. You wouldn't be wrong, it kind of is, but you will see that the Fizz eventually on their team kind of becomes their top performer somehow. But yeah. So basically, when you play Samira, you want to play against low CC comps, and this, I wouldn't describe this as a really low CC comp, but I think it's still manageable. Like you know, Renekton, Fizz, and like Annie, it's alright. It's not like a lot of point and click CC. They don't have like a Thresh or a Set that sort of champion there, or Alistar or whatever. Like, you know, it's not too bad. And generally you want to play with an engaged support, like of course like a Nautilus, Leona, Alistar, whatnot, any support that can give you CC. If you have to have an enchanter, it's better to have like a Nami or a Janna. Probably would be the two best enchanters because they have CC. Karma is like alright. She does have her ult and she does have like her W. It's not the worst support in the world to play with. At least it's not like a Soraka or something. Lux is pretty good as well, actually, especially given the current meta. But yeah, generally, you know, you need these two conditions to be fulfilled. You need some kind of support that can set you up to dash in with your passive, of course, and you want low CC on the enemy team, which in this case, low CC on the enemy team is kind of fulfilled, and like a support that can set us up is kind of fulfilled as well. So it's okay, like it is okay kind of match to play Samira. Not the best, not the worst either. Here, just gonna stop Fizz's back because he's backing completely disrespectfully, and yeah, so now both of our enemies have backed. They were both really low HP. Honestly, I considered flashing under the tower to try to kill both of them, but I wasn't 100% confident of getting both kills. If I got both kills and died, it would have been worth it. If I got one kill and got out, it would have been worth it. But I was just pretty much scared that I would either die trading one for one, or even worst case scenario, I just die without killing anyone. So didn't want to take any unnecessary risk. Don't want to coin flip anything at this point. So I'm just gonna play it safe and instead just not go in and just, you know, just back off. So here, this particular lane, Kai'Sa Fizz, obviously Fizz is kind of useless in lane until he reaches level 5 and can all in. Kai'Sa is pretty okay, I guess you could say, but she's against a Samira and a Karma, so really high chance we're going in this lane, which is why I of course took some impact. Here you can see Fizz goes in on us already. He gets rooted even though he's untargetable, and here I get to the max stacks. I get exhausted, I still manage to pick up the kill onto the Fizz and get the kill on Kai'Sa as well. Fizz ulti does knock me up, I flash away and exhaust the Kha'Zix, but I get sniped by a Kha'Zix W. Now that was really sad, to be honest. I thought I gone away, and then at that point I realized that, wait a minute, Kha'Zix has a W, and then that's when I got hit by it and died. So yeah, I was playing this match when I was kind of tired. This was like at night after like a long day where I woke up at 6 AM. I got back. Eventually I played this game at like I think it was like 8+ PM or something like that, and I was really tired, and I just couldn't process the fact that Kha'Zix still had his W, and I just ended up dying when I probably shouldn't have. But anyways, it's not too bad. We did pick up 2 kills before we died, so overall it's still a okay trade. Here Karma's really low. Fizz tries to go in, you know, to try to kill her, but ends up getting cut off by Kayn, who basically just feeds Kai'Sa a kill here and pretty much achieves basically nothing at this point. And yeah, it's kind of a bad look. Kai'Sa gets a free kill here. Our Akali is running away and just flashing away from the Annie, even though I don't think Annie's gonna one-shot her or anything like that when Annie has only like her boots. So yeah, it's kind of just a comedy of errors at this point. And basically already from this behavior, like 4 minutes into the game, and of course in the real game I've been scrolling the map as well, you can basically already conclude that Akali and Kayn are not the best players in the world. Now of course, you know, it's somewhat a little bit mean, you know, like they're not good players and all that, but objectively when you're playing the game, you have to evaluate who on your team is a good player and who is not. So you know, we've been playing with the Karma. We can see that the Karma knows what she's doing, but we can see based on what we've just seen here, but before we talk about that, let's go in on this Fizz here. Unfortunately, he goes untargetable, so I dashed to minions instead, which basically led to me missing out on a double kill. Kind of messed up there, didn't hold my E and dashed onto the minions instead of Fizz when he got untargetable. But yeah, so as I was saying, you basically have to evaluate who on your team is good and who is not, which will basically give you the information as to, for example, whether you should go in with them or not. Like if they're a good player, you want to go in with them. If they're just a bad player and they're going in 1v3, you definitely don't want to go in with them. That sort of deal. Can evaluate whether you want to go in with them or not. Whether they are someone who, you know, you want to, for example, if you're competing for a wave, you want to let them take the wave instead if they're good. Here Fizz tries to go in on me. I'm not sure what he's doing here. I managed to auto Q to manage to finish off the kill. Kai'Sa now tries to ult in on me. We exhaust each other. Here I get back up to my S rank, and here I'm going to finish off the kill. Actually, Karma finishes off the kill on the Kai'Sa as well. No big deal. We managed to easily kill both of them. And we're kind of getting our snowball rolling at this point, which is really what you want to do when you're playing Samira. Unfortunately, Annie is like on the roam down. I'm kind of like really low HP. I get stunned. I try my best to trade the kill onto the Annie. Unfortunately, once again, Karma gets the kill. And here I die to the Ignite. I actually would have survived if I was not ignited, but unfortunately the Ignite does me in. Also cuts my healing, so really double whammy from the Ignite, both from the dot and from the Grievous Wounds. So now you can see here, we're kind of evaluating how Tryndamere is doing. Now honestly, based on the behavior we've seen so far, Tryndamere is a decent, okay to decent player. He's 3-1. He of course has a Divine Sunder, and he's building a sort of tanky-ish kind of Tryndamere build. So for now, we're gonna evaluate and think that he's an okay player. Kayn and Akali though, not the best players in the world for sure. Here Fizz trying to go on the tower and trying to, you know, get the tower itself. I don't know what Kayn's waiting for, but he walks in for a lane gang in the most obvious way. Basically just walks in on both of them and goes into Kai'Sa, doesn't go out, goes out the wrong way into the tower, and then tries to flash out when he's already dead. So if just now whatever evidence you guys saw was not good enough, you can definitely see from this one that definitely we don't want to be playing with our Kayn. We don't want to be playing around our Kayn, I guess you could say. Here Karma manages to get a good ult onto Kai'Sa, allows me to pick up the kill. I go in, try to get the Fizz as well, and the Karma Ignite manages to finish off the kill on Fizz. Now here, Annie tries to go in on me again, and here unfortunately, first time playing is the Annie rework. I know that she has a knockup on her bear, and the knockup ends up killing me. because in that CC I could not attack Annie, and she ends up living on 1 HP and killing me, which is really sad. Of course, if this was the old Annie, I would have just killed her, but instead I end up dying to her instead, which is completely opposite of what could and should have happened. Anyways, here we're gonna once again take a look at our Tryndamere and see, of course, evaluate and see, how is his performance. For now, he's doing relatively fine. He's getting ganked by Kha'Zix actually, and he is, of course, just running away. Unfortunately, he does die to the gank, but that doesn't give us too much information on how good of a player he is. I guess you could say he didn't evaluate the map properly, but in Wild Rift, that's pretty common. People don't track jungle. Here, Fizz gets the ulti onto the Karma, but of course, he can't go in on Karma because I reached the vicinity, and if he goes in, he basically just dies, because as Fizz, when you go in with your E, you can't come out anymore. And here me and Karma are trying to siege this tower and trying to get the kill on the tower. But however, the Kai'Sa and FaZe manages to clear out the minions, and we aren't able to secure the tower. So here we're trying to hard push in, and we're trying to once again go for the tower. And we're going to see if we can manage to get it. Unfortunately, FaZe again with the wave clear together with Kai'Sa Qs. Yeah, not too successful operation here from me and the Karma. We're overstaying a lot. Kha'Zix and Annie are coming down already. Annie flash stuns me. Unfortunately, I don't have my flash up, and I just get one shot. Karma basically gets one shot by Kha'Zix as well. And honestly, the mistake we made here was just trying to force the tower too hard, and we've done that. We've done that forcing for way too long, to the point that the enemy team easily just rotates down and gets 2-3 kills on us. Obviously, a huge mistake on my part. But thankfully, though, we're still doing relatively alright. Of course, Kha'Zix is the most fit member in the game. He has 8.5k gold. We're like about 1k behind him. And of course, a lot of other champs are at that kind of goal as well. We have Kai'Sa and Annie sitting around the same goal as me. And surprisingly, despite the fact that Kayn is kind of playing really badly, he's actually 3 and 4. He has about the same goal as well. Now here, unfortunately, I don't manage to get to my S rank fast enough. And when I finally do, I end up just dying instead, which is really sad. The champions were a little bit too far away for me to reach, and I couldn't go in on them properly. And here my whole team basically just ends up dying. Akali, no idea what she's doing here, walking. She walks around the shroud to the other side where she's further away from safety. But yeah, so Kayn's the last man standing. He's just respawned. Kha'Zix actually does the dragon alone because his team surprisingly just ditches him, and he ends up doing the dragon alone. And here he could have gotten one shot by Kayn if Kayn actually exited his ultimate immediately instead of just staying in there for the maximum duration and allowing Kha'Zix to get a free smite onto the dragon to restore health. But yeah, once again, even though Kayn is fed, he's just not a good player, so he's not one-shotting the Kha'Zix like he should. Here Fizz goes in on me with the ult. I press my W too slow, and I end up getting hit by the ult, which actually doesn't do too much damage at this point. My whole team rotates here, and I'm able to kill the Fizz, who surprisingly has a shutdown. I say surprisingly because me and Karma haven't really been dying to the Fizz, so obviously it's our team that has been dying to the Fizz, and giving him a lot of gold. In fact, he is at 8k gold already, which is more gold than his top laner and basically my entire team except me and Kayn. In fact, he does have more gold than Kayn, so the enemy support Fizz has more gold than your entire team. Complete disaster. Speaking of disaster, Kai'Sa runs into a disaster because she overextends and ends up getting punished by me, Kayn, and Karma. And yeah, so free pick for us. But in the meanwhile, speaking of overextending, Tryndamere is now overextending on the other side of the map, and he is gonna be the victim of the enemy trio, most likely. They're chasing him down. Kha'Zix manages to hop onto him and pick up the kill. So overall, it's kind of an even trade, all things considered. And here the next, not Nyx dragon, but the Baron is about to spawn soon. So we of course have to play around objectives. As you guys can see, Kha'Zix is here, which is why I control warded the bush before walking there. Don't want to face check the Kha'Zix. Akali manages to pick up a tower, which gives us the objective bounty. Here Karma gets jumped on, by the Kha'Zix, and here I'm trying my best to rotate over, but I realize that the fight is already over, so I'm just going ahead to stop the Renekton instead from just free pushing. Here I'm slowly stacking up my stacks. He turns around and tries to go in on me. I exhaust him, and I'm gonna get up a good ult onto him. Does get off a decent amount of damage. He is starting to run away. I managed to get vision of him and dash onto his head, and I'm able to finish off the kill. So at this point, I'm at 10.5k gold or so. just 1k behind the Kazakhs still. So generally, I do have the second highest gold in the game. Unfortunately, here my team dies and the Kaisa is running away again. If you guys can hear that, there are some choppers flying outside the apartment, so hopefully you guys can hear that. Kaisa tries to get a turn on me for some reason, thinks she can assassinate me, but just ends up just looking like a fool instead, so not too wise decision by her to turn around. Here Fizz and Kazakhs are walking towards us, so we're gonna walk away. Fizz hits the ulti onto Karma, but because he went in full combo onto the Karma together with the Kazakhs, I'm probably gonna be able to get the kill. Here you can see I am able to assassinate Kazakhs. I'm able to dash away from the Fizz, and unfortunately auto target hits the minion with the Q instead of the Fizz, which basically means that I can't get the kill on him. Renekton flashes in on me, but I'm almost up to S rank. I do get up there and I contribute a little bit of damage from my ultimate, but I'm mainly concerned about running away and not exactly killing the Renekton himself. We do get the Triumph proc from the Renekton after our team gets the kill on him, but we're gonna recall and pick up our Shield Bow. So you can see that in this game, the main reason why I chose to go Shield Bow instead of either More Reminder or IE is because we are fed, but we're not like super duper fed. At least compared to the enemy team. Like we have Kazakhs who's like more fed than me, so I'm not like, you know, super duper fed. And the main issue here is getting assassinated by Kazakhs, Annie, or Fizz. Even Kaisa, but we haven't gotten assassinated by Kaisa yet, but Kaisa could assassinate us technically. Here enemy team tries to go for Baron. We're able to basically put a stop to it by getting a double kill on the enemy team carries. Here Kazakhs tries to go in on Karma, gets the kill on Karma. Here I'm trying to capitalize and go in on Kazakhs. Instead I exhaust him, try to go in on Kazakhs, which I do. Unfortunately, while I was in my dash, Fizz manages to hit me while I'm in my dash. I really could not dodge the ultimate in any way, shape, or form. And unfortunately, I do end up dying to him, and I do end up giving a shutdown over to the Fizz. Fortunately, Akali is probably going to be able to finish off the Fizz together with the Kayn. I don't know why Akali had to ult a 1 HP Fizz, but yeah. Kayn also horribly mistimes the WQ combo when the Fizz was in stasis, but yeah, so basically at this point, Tryndamere has made a couple of mistakes as well, and he's also building like really tanky. He's not building a carry or damagey build anyways, so we basically can conclude that the game is mainly up to me and Karma to bring the win back for our team. So here, you know, when you know you have to be the one to carry, you of course have to play a little bit more carefully and not make any too foolish decisions. Here our team is on the dragon, trying to do the dragon. Enemy team is trying to, of course, contest. And here we're waiting for an opportunity to go in. Of course, here we do manage to secure the dragon. Here I'm just slow stacking my passive on whoever I see. I managed to secure the kill onto the Renekton. Fizz hits the ulti onto Karma, but isn't really able to go in. You can see Fizz ulti now is doing an insane amount of damage now that he's gotten a couple of items already. Here I'm gonna go and get the kill onto Kaisa, go onto the Fizz as well, get the kill onto the Fizz as well. Since I have ulti, I'm just gonna use it to lifesteal up to full and kill the wolves while I'm at it. And I actually thought the enemy team already lost their tier 1 mid, but surprisingly tier 1 mid is actually still up. So I can't even walk past tier 1 mid, which is kind of funny that the enemy team literally only lost their side lane towers, like the side lane tier 1 towers. So anyways, here with the entire enemy team dead, you know, it's prime time to do a Baron, which is exactly what we're gonna do. Me and Akali should, together with Karma actually, who does have a Ludens and a Death Cap, should have enough damage to kill off the Baron, which we do, and we're gonna quickly just you know, escape with the Baron. So here I complete my IE as my 4th item because Armor Pen against this team is not very useful. Of course there is a decent amount of healing like from Kaisa, Annie, and Renekton. And Renekton also is decently tanky, but I think the pure damage that I get from IE at this point is just going to be way more useful. Here, because I know that the Kayn is like basically useless at this point, I'm just trying to take the jungle farm as he's trying to take it as well. Honestly, I say he's useless. He really isn't useless because he has 4 lethality items and he is relatively fed. But in reality, no matter how fed you are, if you're a bad player, you know, there's a high tendency to mess up somewhere, which is why, you know, I'm not going to trust a bad player to carry me, and as a result, I'm not going to give them the farm, or I'm at least going to contest the farm, if, you know, if I'm in a position to. So anyways, here, we're in a really relatively advantageous spot. Fizz is gone, which is one of their main assassins, who's kind of the most fed on their team. Not most fed, but Kha'Zix is the most fed, but Fizz is second most fed. So here, we're just pushing in to the base. We managed to secure the inhibitor already. Really difficult to end here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate over and go for the bot inhibitor as well, which we do secure. And here, I was expecting the minions to walk in, but I ended up tanking like 3 tower shots, which basically puts me to like 1/3 health, which is kind of embarrassing, to be very honest. Kha'Zix tries to go in on me, but I'm not isolated. He's not going to do enough damage to me. And here I actually get up to S rank. Fizz also tries to assassinate me, but ends up hitting Kane's Edge of Night instead. It doesn't even get the fish onto anybody. And here I'm relatively low, but we're still looking for an end angle. But here I realize that it's not gonna happen. Any Fizz and Renekton are gonna be enough to defend. So I think I think that we should be backing off. So I am pinging my team to back off and go to Elder Dragon instead, which has already spawned for like 30 seconds or so. Of course, the enemy jungler is dead, so this should be a free Elder Dragon. Assuming nothing goes wrong. Something is going wrong though, because Kane is not interested in taking the Elder Dragon apparently, and is just trying to take the blue buff. After which he is apparently trying to zone away enemies instead of just coming over to get the dragon. He does, of course, however, come over to, of course, secure the credit for the Elder Dragon when he in reality did nothing aside from just coming over and last hitting it. But it is what it is. We're gonna just continue on with our lives, and we're gonna get ourselves the Executioner's Calling. Felt the anti-heal was probably more useful at this point than the armor penetration, seeing as Renekton is not really a major problem at this point in time. So here, with the Elder Dragon buff in tow, we should be able to ideally force down a lane, force a fight, kill the enemies, and win the game. So let's see if we're able to do that. Here, we of course can't just randomly just jump in and inch our lives away. So we gotta, of course, wait for a good opportunity. Here, our Tryndamere is able to push in the last lane that has an inhibitor, goes in under tower. Here we're trying our best to go ahead and join him. We end up getting hit by Fizz ulti, but we use the QSS to prevent ourselves from getting knocked up. At least we don't get the CC. Here, we're gonna flash over to just finish off the kill onto the Kai'Sa. And with basically everyone dead aside from the Kha'Zix, this is going to basically be a win. So here, just clearing up the last few minions, and we pick up the victory. So I'm going to leave you guys with the stats as usual. Thank you guys so much for watching the video, and goodbye.
Victory!